The United States and its allies have vowed tougher measures to stop North Korea breaking sanctions, including naval security operations to prevent maritime smuggling. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson and Canada's Foreign Minister Chrystia Freeland, hosts of talks in Vancouver, urged world powers to support maritime interdiction measures. Alongside Japan and South Korea, they recommitted to the complete, verifiable and irreversible de-nuclearisation of the Korean peninsula. The warning of robust new tactics to intercept illicit shipments of nuclear materials or sanctions-busting imports was the most concrete measure to come out of a two-day meeting to which China and Russia were not invited. Many observers, including Beijing and Moscow themselves, had questioned the value of holding a meeting of former Korea War allies to discuss an issue when China's support remains the key to diplomatic success. Others had noted a stark difference in tone between the hawkish Japanese envoy, Foreign Minister Taro Ono, and South Korea's more cautious Kang Kyung-Wha, who said recent inter-Korea talks where assigned sanctions are already working. But after the meeting was finished, Mr. Tillerson insisted the allies will remain united and continue to work with China and Russia to enforce UN-backed sanctions and force Kim Jong-un to negotiate his own nuclear disarmament. Our unity and our common cause with others in the region, most particularly China and Russia, will remain intact despite North Korea's frequent attempts to divide us and sow dissension, he said. We discussed the importance of working together to counter sanctions evasion and smuggling, and we also issued a call to action to strengthen global maritime interdiction operations to foil illicit ship-to-ship transfers. North Korea has been accused of seeking to evade the draconian sanctions imposed on its isolated regime by transferring supplies from foreign vessels to its own on the high seas. Some experts have argued that naval action to intercept merchantmen would be interpreted as an act of war and trigger a potentially devastating North Korean response. Reports in Washington suggest that U.S. forces are at least planning for a potential strike of their own, a limited so-called bloody nose strike to convince Mr. Kim that his safest option is a negotiated settlement. Mr. Tillerson refused to address military planning issues, and would not say whether U.S. President Donald Trump has been in contact with Pyongyang, but he did warn that the crisis is coming to a head. With respect to whether Americans need to be concerned about a war with North Korea, I think we all need to be very sober and clear-eyed about the current situation, he warned, just days after a false warning of a missile strike jolted the U.S. island state of Hawaii. Mr. Tillerson said that North Korea's recent tests of a thermonuclear warhead and of an intercontinental missile show their continued progress in developing an arsenal that is already a global threat. I think our approach is in terms of having North Korea choose the correct step is to present to them that talks are the best option, that when they look at the military situation, that's not a good outcome for them, he said.